did you? I don't know if you've noticed, but have you noticed the changes in the Ender's client recently? Like Ender is going crazy.
Yeah, I mean, like just this is the first video with those the shortcuts next to the
Yeah,
portrait in the top
that's
left.
really weird.
I don't
And then
know.
there's
Do you need
also the
to
gluttony too.
the gluttony, as in the
Yeah,
bars, is it?
they changed up the gluttony so that when you like if you like to use the I like to use the bars over the diamond.
Hmm.
And when you go into gluttony mode now, if you're in gluttony mode, it'll stay bars instead of the diamond so that if when you eat something, if your health goes up, it'll actually show in the bar how much health went up. Or it'll show your phlegm going up. So you're not trying to look at the diamond going, what in the hell? What one was that again? Because I do that all the time. I'll look at the diamond and I can't remember which one was which.
Yeah, I still get confused about the number that pops up. Like when you eat something and it shows a number. At first I thought it was like the types of food or the number of food you have eaten, but then it goes from like 1 to 3 and I'm like, what?
What I believe that is, I think I figured it out. That is, it's a number according to which one went up. I think blood is
Oh.
1, phlegm is 2, yellow bile is 3, and black bile is 4.
Ah.
But see, then if you use the Enders mode, and they use the bars, it actually doesn't show a number. It's because it's an actual bar. You can actually see which one is going up.
Right, yeah.
So that's that. I'm really pleased that Ender is actually staying on top of it, and Ender is trying to monopolize the client market because he's taking all the things that were good out of the BD Salem. He took that and put it in Enders. All the things that were good about Apexalog, he took out of that and put it in Enders.
Well, he's pretty much the main client guy from Heaven and Hearth, right?
Yes, yeah. Actually, I think he's the only one really.
Ah. Yeah, so I think just out of trust, people will go for his anyway.
Right, especially if they're Haven and Hearthers.
But one thing, which is odd for the developers of this game, is that generally they have terrible design sense. As in, like, the interface design, the icons, the buttons, they're all pretty terrible.
Oh yeah.
But somehow the humor bars at the top, although it's completely useless, it is actually a very attractive way of displaying the information.
Oh, you mean the diamond thing?
Yeah, the diamond.
Yeah, I don't know. See, I'm telling you, man, the Swedish people and everything, they're weird. That's the reason. Like, for instance, nobody uses the default client, and the people that do are the people that are like hardcore beta testers. Like, I'm into this to beta test, not to beta test other people's clients, and blah blah blah. And it's like, okay, well, you're one in a million because nobody uses the default client because the default client sucks.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean they're working on it, but like a lot of people have said, being that there's only 2 developers, I mean they're probably a lot of this stuff is probably placeholders, like the dartboard pie.
Yeah.
I mean,
they didn't even texture the dirt until like 2 updates ago.
Right, exactly.
When you dig up dirt, it didn't even have a texture for that. That's not exactly a difficult texture to do.
Right, yeah. It was just like they forgot about it. And there's so much, like, I'm severely surprised that it's already going in open beta because so much of the game hasn't been implemented yet. I mean, Witchcraft hasn't been implemented, which is going to be an entire system in and of itself. All these things haven't been implemented. Like, I guess witches are going to be able to fly over walls and all that kind of stuff. And I also figured out, I don't know if you were looking at the forums at all, but I found out what the cackling is.
Oh yeah, it was when someone crafts one of those masks, isn't it?
It's when somebody studies it.
Oh, when somebody studies it.
Yeah. Like, I actually think I got one. I want to test this.
Okay.
I'm gonna run back to my little my camp here, and I'm gonna try and pick this up, and I'm gonna test it. I'm gonna come in Boston and freak everybody out.
And yeah, it's creepy because when you study it, no one can tell who's studying what.
Let's see, where in the hell was it? I know it's around here somewhere. Watch, somebody used it. Disadvantage of being in a village. Let's see, where was it? It's in here somewhere. Aha, there it is. Alright, we're about to try this. I'm about to freak everybody out. I'm gonna like scream in area chat, there's a witch in Boston. Because I didn't know. I just thought... I just thought that it was, you know, the devs trolling or something. That's what even Moo said.
Yeah, that's what Moo said.
I'll make sure my sound is up here because I think I turned my sound off because I got sick of hearing the bear.
Yeah.
With no other audio in the game, it's really bothersome. All right, let's see here. Well, first of all, let me.
It does actually work.
Yeah, that was it.
You know, they haven't like implemented even the most basic sound effects, like, you know, ambient noise, wind, trees rustling.
Right.
But they managed to put in a scary bear sound. They managed to put in the sounds for fishing. They got that in, and then they put in this cackling.
Right. Yeah. I just loved because when I saw that on the forums, I was like, oh wow, maybe the devs are just trolling, and I posted the video from Monty Python and the Holy Grail. Because the witch, it's a witch. Because I wonder, are they gonna like do things like, are they going to like make it so like you can capture witches? Like, how do you kill them? Because I don't know, did you watch the dev diary on witches?
I did, yes.
And so like, I don't understand. Like, for instance, if you have a cursed sawbuck, how are you going to tell it's a cursed sawbuck? Like, they're gonna have to put in some sort of system to implement, you know, countering witches. Like witch trap. I don't know.
Well, I'm gonna guess things like these simple crucifixes are actually going to have a bigger use, and especially I think the Bibles are going to have a much bigger use.
Yeah, I think actually Bibles you're going to be able to hold them.
Yeah.
I'm actually curious here. Since open beta is about to come out, I really don't care.
Right now you can just study them, I think. Well, try equipped it.
That's what I'm going to try and do. No, you can't equip them. Not unless it has to be in a certain hand. Let me get rid of my saber here. No, yep, you can't hold it.
Well, they should implement that with witchcraft.
Right, yeah, I'm assuming eventually they will. And then you'll be able to walk around holding the Bible. Looks like somebody's like Eegore?
Do you actually know him, or
no?
Is he recognizing you? Yeah.
I think he's recognizing my character.
Oh, we're famous now.
Right, exactly. So now I'm gonna have to make sure my character looks like this. I'm gonna have to rush the Admiral's jacket and the latest from Paris, ridiculous top hat.
Yeah, I think you're a little bit more recognizable than I am.
You just look like a regular guy.
Yeah, I just look like me. They just know I'm me because I always stand under these trees.
Right. Yeah.
But, you know, you with that hat, I actually don't see anyone else with that hat.
I know, right? Like, I'm about to start selling them. I don't... Not unless this was like some random newbie I've helped before. I don't know, I've helped so many new people that...
Yeah, but when you help them, you don't... Oh.
Yeah, see, it was somebody I helped before.
Yeah.
Oh no, he's talking about my video.
He's talking about your video, teaching you to mine.
We're Salem famous. We're Salem celebrities.
Well, it's good to be known for something.
Right? Now it's going to be really funny to just be curious if something happens, to see what happens, as in, like, if somebody starts posting videos, like, someone tries to do some, like, stupid, you know, tutorial videos, and people are like, you suck, go watch the original people that do the... You know what I mean?
Yeah, don't do that, guys. Don't do that. If someone wants to make videos, let them make videos.
Right.
By the way, in case you're wondering, I am still recording.
Oh, excellent.
No, because this can be like a podcast or something. When open beta starts, and it can be like, oh, our opinions of the closed beta, because, you know, we know what we're talking about.
Right, yeah. Also, now everybody's gonna know that the Wicked Wicker Man is the one that does the cackling.
Well, I can cut it out if you want. Like,
No,
I'll be...
I don't care. Believe me, I'm not that worried about it. Ah, this is interesting. And I think the reason why I am not going to use anything other than the latest from Paris hat from now on, because like you said, I've never seen anybody else use it.
Yeah, I mean, is it even on the wiki? Is it?
I'm not sure. I might actually check right now.
I mean, we can see all the hats people are wearing here, and these are the hats that people normally wear. If not these hats, then a helmet like that guy.
All right, let's see. The only reason I use it is because it looks absolutely ridiculous. Oh yeah, it is in the wiki. Look at that.
It matches your character, so it's fine.
Oh, thanks. I must be absolutely ridiculous.
Well, I think that's the kind of hat that will only kind of look good when you wear that jacket.
I don't know, let's see.
Yeah, it's... The hat is so much, so
there we
you
go.
have
See,
to kind of...
That's perfect. This is perfect. That's the perfect. See, now I'm hidden. Nobody knows it's me.
By the way, did you see the new? Did you see the new trailer, the Salem Away?
No, I didn't.
Yeah, just go to YouTube and watch or search for Salem Away, and it's this really weird, kind of slightly machinima, slightly trailer-ish coverage.
Oh my word! It was done by IGN too, really?
Well, I think it's someone who's under IGN. You know, IGN owns everything.
Good point.
It's I think he's a game journalist because he writes some articles and stuff I've seen. But he did that trailer. So are you watching it?
I was just kind of checking out the beginning of it, but yeah, I'll have to actually watch the whole thing eventually.
Yeah, most of it is about naked Russians. Yeah, half the comments are saying that it's somewhat unsatisfactory in representing Salem.
Well, actually, I think there was something on the Facebook for Salem about naked Russians.
I don't know. People have been saying that naked Russians is like a Heaven and Hearth and developer joke, but I think naked Russians pretty much caught on Salem from day one.
Yeah, and Russians though in Haven and Hearth are actually a big thing. Like, I don't know why, but like for instance, there's a what is it? It's something frog. I can't remember off the top of my head now, but there was actually a griefer that was the first griefer of Haven and Hearth.
Right.
And Shocked Frog. That was it. Shocked Frog.
Shocked Frog.
Yep, and it was the first griefer in Salem, or in Haven and Hearth, and they actually made an inspirational called the Shocked Frog.
Right.
And it's kind of funny that they just do that, and that's the cool stuff that can happen when you're playing a indie, it's not tied down.
Yeah, they don't take themselves seriously at all.
Right, yeah. They do, but only to a certain extent. But I just know that these developers are just two guys that were like, you know what? I'm sick of seeing all these ridiculous games, so we're just gonna make our own.
Our own ridiculous game.
Yep. And it's unreal how much like jokes, I guess, from doing from making the game, and over time, just the jokes that have flown are just outstanding. Like, I'm trying to remember the other one that is, like, you look at it in the game. Like, I know you really haven't played a whole lot of Haven and Hearth. I can't remember what it's called now, but it's something else that's just absolutely ridiculous. And I was just like, did they really do that? Like, really? I can't remember what it is now, but...
Well, I've never touched the game, so...
Right. I was actually looking in the wiki to see if I could actually find what it's called, because I can't remember off the top of my head, but you look at it and you're just like, really? I can't remember what it was.
I'm sure any Heaven and Hearth players will know what you're talking about.
Right, and like I said, if I can seem to find it, it's pretty funny. But yeah, the main one, it was shocked frog, and I was just like, what? How do you find a shocked frog? And my buddy was just like, yeah, well they that was Haven and Hearth's first griefer, and that's just what happened. So like, wow.
Well, Seatribe doesn't take themselves seriously at all. I mean, isn't their slogan like they specialize in permadeath games and forum drama?
Or something like that.
Yeah, it's something like that.
I think they need to give themselves a little bit more credit, but
yeah, I mean, considering it's two guys, it's a pretty impressive game.
it is too, because my buddy said he was starting to do some Java stuff, and it's just ridiculous. Trying to get everything to work in sync with each other and just everything like that is it's really hard, I guess, to get everything to work together properly so that you can actually do anything with it.
Yeah, and what really annoyed me when Salem was first being announced and stuff, like a lot of people are looking forward to it, and then when they first released their first dev diary showing like the first gameplay footage, people got so pissed at the graphics.
Oh yeah, in Haven and Hearth or Salem?
In Salem.
In the very, very beginning?
Well, for like, I think still up until now, people are commenting and saying, "Oh, the graphics are shit."
Those are just people that don't have an appreciation for indie.
Yeah, I mean,
and you know what kills me?
The graphics aren't actually that bad.
Well, what kills me is I guarantee you those same people are like, "No, Minecraft's graphics are way better."
Yeah, I know, right?
But
I mean, texture packs are bound to be released for Salem.
Oh, I'm sure. I am sure.
Yeah, so I mean, they change the textures in the game all the time. It can't be that hard.
Right? Yeah. Well, I mean, I know how to texture. I just don't know how to texture for Java, and that's the problem.
Yeah.
And that's why I was actually looking to do it, because I was actually, I was going to change. And it was really funny because that was what happened to you. Was you were talking about how the clay trough looked terrible, and then next thing you know, then they redo the clay trough.
Yeah, I mean, they didn't just retexture; they actually made a whole new clay trough.
Right, exactly. So I don't know. I'd be interested to see where the game goes, and I really think that a big part of it is going to be what happens on actual release.
Yeah.
Because honestly, I know that they're trying not to, but I'm really praying that they try to keep things from getting too pay to win. Because I'm sure they have a budget that they have to meet. Most game companies, if you signed up with a game company, I'm sure you have a budget, that you have to try and get to.
Yeah, I mean, they're still under Paradox. I mean, Paradox is expecting some money.
Right, exactly, and that's what I'm saying. I'm hoping
it is a business,
and I'm hoping that it doesn't get too kind of crazy. But from what Loftar has told me in IRC chat, is that the one thing that we can expect to see is, and that makes sense, is that nothing in the actual Boston market is going to change. So your bar of iron that you can buy is only going to be 0% pure. It's not going to be, it's not going to scale with the game. It's always going to be a, crap bar of iron. The Pilgrim's Bible is eventually going to get to the point where, it's 0% pure. So, the Cloak and Dagger it does give, eventually when people are getting up to 6,000 Cloak and Dagger for the story of Cain and Abel, I mean, to just buy Pilgrim's Bibles is literally going to cost you, probably $5. If you just want to buy it. Yeah. And I'm like, certain people will, but, there's a lot of people that'll say, I'm not paying that. I'll just go craft something that I can get that with.
Yeah, I know. I mean, first you gotta raise Cloak and Dagger to 6,000.
Exactly.
Then you gotta... and to get to Story of Cain and Abel, you gotta get a bunch of other skills.
Right. So, hopefully...
Yeah, so people... I don't think anyone will be, spending that much money to just buy up to get the murder skill instantly.
Yeah, I'm sure there will be some people that do. You're always going to have that.
People with way too much money, because they'll probably buy their way up to get the murder skill, and then they'll just get themselves killed.
Yeah, and that's what'll happen too. Is it'll, what comes around goes around, and I know that me and my buddy just tried it out, and we tried out the to be able to teleport somebody, because I guess if somebody commits a crime, if somebody, I think it's, what is it? It's if somebody breaks something, I think you can only do it if somebody breaks, like if somebody breaks through your wall, it'll leave evidence of waste, and you can actually, you drop the evidence of waste on the ground, you pick it up. Well, after you track them down, you got to track their claim, and you can pick it up and then click anywhere on their claim, and it will summon them to their claim, even if they're offline.
Right, yeah.
So, I mean, they do have stuff implemented, so where, you know, if somebody's really messing around with somebody else, I mean, just keep your evidence of waste and hire somebody, essentially.
Yeah, because if you go and kill them, then you'll leave your own evidence.
Exactly, but I mean, if they're, you know, if that's their main character or something, and they were dumb enough to try something, you know, and I mean, that's what I like about the game, is the justice system.
Yeah, and
so I mean, it's never going to get where somebody's super overpowered. I mean, you could end up getting somebody, you know, you can get 3 or 4 guys to tackle, you know, to kill one dude.
Yeah, and I actually like how even if you're doing like a revenge kill, you leave your own evidence, because that opens up a whole new industry of assassins.
Right,
which is part of the intended endgame of politics and all of that. So people could play as pure murderers, but they can be, you know, guns for hire, or swords for hire, rather.
Yep, that too. And the other thing is that eventually it's going to get to the point where when witches are implemented, it's going to be, you know, people are going to start hiring witches.
Yeah.
You know, go curse everything they got, and go do this and go do that, and eventually it'll get there, I think.
Yeah, I mean, the best curse I've heard so far, which they want to put in, is cursing someone's cow, and when you go milk it, you just get a bucket of blood.
Oh, wow, what?
I don't remember where I heard that, but I'm pretty sure he mentioned it in the dev diary or something. And that's one of the curses they want to put in.
That's awesome. Morbid, but awesome.
Yeah, you won't be able to tell that the cow is cursed, it's just, it doesn't produce milk anymore.
Well, I'm just thinking to myself, like, you know, just picturing myself in real life. If I had a cow and I just went to milk it and got a bucket of blood, I'd be a little freaked out.
Well, yeah, I mean, that's what witches are supposed to be in this game. I mean, the game is supposed to be designed for us to hate witches. Right, even if we want witches on our side, we don't want to like them.
Exactly. But then again, another thing too, I think churches are going to be able to, that's what you're going to have. If you have a church on your claim, I think it steers away witches or something, or it protects a certain area or something.
Yeah, it'll probably probably the most simple solution is it'll drain their biles faster.
Right, yeah, absolutely, and that would be cool.
Because
you could do that.
Witchcraft is pretty much solely based on black bile, isn't it? Like when you ride broomsticks and stuff, it'll drain your black bile.
Well, I know that, like, in the dev diary, they were talking about when you are riding on a broomstick, it has that when you curse somebody's sawbuck, you get a magic power from that, and you use that magic power. So whenever somebody's using that sawbuck, regardless of where they are on the map, it'll use that magic power. It'll build it up, and it'll build up, and it'll build up, and build up, and then you use that magic power to ride your broom. That's what he was kind of explaining.
Oh, right. Okay. I suppose that's the incentive. Well, witchcraft is... I'm imagining witchcraft to be a sort of shortcut to power, where it allows you to do these things, and it makes you more powerful and faster and everything. But of course, then everyone will hate you for it, because to gain power, you have to do something bad to people.
Right, yeah, but then I was also talking in IRC chat to Loftar, and he assured me that witchcraft is not something that you're going to just be able to hop in Salem and acquire. You actually have to work for it and work towards it. So, you know, it won't be, I'm hoping that it won't be just basically people log in and say, I'm a witch.
yeah. It'll probably be similar to the murder mechanic, where you do actually have to get the skills up there.
Which I think, honestly, thinking about it now, that almost could be an interesting, if they could actually do it right. But then again, I don't know how big the world would have to be if they actually could do that, where you choose, do you want to be a witch or do you want to be a pilgrim? And it's almost like as a faction, and you're warring against each other.
Another faction. Well, it would be kind of if that does become a thing where they probably won't officially make it choose a side kind of thing from the start, because that is limiting a bit. But just being a witch will already kind of put you in that side of the world.
Right. That'd be kind of cool if you just started off in like a random witch camp or something instead of Boston.
That would be cool though.
I mean, in a certain sense, it's like, I would not want to see that, because I wouldn't want to see another, faction based, because then with every faction, you always have some faction that overruns the map, or I guarantee you, if they did be that an option, every single player would want to be a witch.
And I have a feeling that to become a witch, you have to get something from the darkness. Probably have to kill something or harvest something.
I would assume so.
Yeah, so I expect like a lot of witches, like even if they're not obvious witches, people wanting to be witches will be kind of hanging around the darkness areas. And I think that's where they would start to socialize and try and build up their factions.
I think so, because that actually sounds like, because like he was saying, you wouldn't be able to just be a witch. So essentially what I think you would have to do was you would have to do something that would turn you quote unquote evil, or you'd have to join the witch faction by doing something or having some sort of ability, but that would mean you'd have to travel into the darkness, which means you would actually have to still, I guess you would have to still do something that, I don't know, would make you a witch. I don't know how it's going to work. That would be interesting if that did happen that way.
Yeah. Also, I imagine witches to not value money as much, because I don't think they're going to be the type to be growing crops and stuff like that. So I think they will value things that are in the darkness, but being a witch, they won't have as powerful combat abilities.
No, I doubt it. I really do. I mean, they'll probably have advantages like, I'm sure they'll have their defensive advantages, but I'm sure that their main advantage is going to be being able to harvest power off other players.
Yeah. So I'm also imagining the scenario where those swords for hire would want to hire the witch, and the witch won't ask for money. The witch will say, go into the monster and harvest these things from this monster.
Yeah, I mean, that's definitely a good possibility for sure. Would be to do something like that. I think that'd be pretty cool. Hopefully, like I said, it's just all about how they're gonna do it, and I have full faith that they have, they know what they're doing. They're just waiting and making us suffer.
Yeah. I mean, the devs already have, like, I mean, they showed off witchcraft like last year, didn't they?
Yeah, I mean, witchcraft everybody's been dying to see witchcraft. But then what's gonna happen is everyone's dying to see it, and then when it finally does release, everyone's gonna go, oh, I remember back in the good old days when there were no witches.
Well, once they start releasing witchcraft, they're gonna start releasing all the other features as well, like animal husbandry and all that. Pets, they said they wanted to do pets.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
I mean, if they're gonna complain about back in the day, I mean, it's pretty much the whole game would not be there back in the day. Like, what we have now is probably not even half of the content that's supposed to be in here.
Right, yeah. Because there's, in total Haven and Hearth content, there's like a quarter.
Yeah.
There's hardly nothing in it compared to Haven and Hearth. Excuse me. And if they want to do something like Haven and Hearth, if they want to try and give it that same feel, then I'm pretty sure that, that they'll do it. The content is just, there's maybe 1/4 of the content in Salem that there is in Haven and Hearth, and if they have plans to put as much content that as Haven and Hearth, they got a long way to go.
Yeah. Which
is another thing that actually, I think that this house right here is actually going to be buildable in the future.
This house, yeah.
Either this one or one of the bigger ones, because there's an ability that humble abodes
yes,
that you don't get anything from it. You don't learn anything from it. You only learn.
It actually
get the ability.
Allows you to construct some fancy building that hasn't been implemented yet.
Exactly. So I think it's going to be like this one, or maybe one of the ones closer to the front. I don't know, but this one you can actually go inside, and things friggin' huge.
Yeah, this is actually it's much nicer for a home.
Yeah, and I mean that's pretty massive. And then I know if they're thinking about doing it like Haven and Hearth, the mansion in Haven and Hearth actually had a basement.
A basement.
It had a basement, and I believe it even had like an upstairs or something.
Now I'm imagining witches and basements.
Right, yeah, exactly.
They'll be like, oh no, look, it's just a farm, yeah, but then the basement door is locked.
Right, yeah.
And it's just filled, well, it'll look something pretty much like your house.
Right, yeah.
Just filled with animal carcasses.
Hey, my house is Ace Ventura's nightmare.
I mean, you can like harvest meat off of them and the body disappears, doesn't it?
Yeah. I mean, you just
specifically skinned them, then left them there for decoration.
Right, yeah. I just like having a house of meat.
Well, it doesn't go off, does it?
What's that?
I mean, like, there's no rotting mechanic, or it doesn't like disappear over time or anything.
Nope. That's what I was saying. That's why I posted my comments. Actually, somebody said, I like all the meat you have there or something. I said, well, you never know when I feel like I might want to take a bite off of a 2-week-old carcass or something,
They really should put something like that in a rotting mechanic.
They should. I think they do.
Stockpile animal carcasses.
Or, what they should do is something like, if they do eventually put, well, actually in Haven and Hearth, I think you could put basements in 2 of the 3 houses, I think. I think there's only 3, but you actually had to dig a cellar for the first house, or the second house, and then I think that this mansion, the 3rd house, came with one. And I think they should do something like if you put carcasses down in the basement, they'll actually last longer, because that's how they did a lot of that stuff back then. They had, underground, they used the ground as a refrigerator.
Yeah, that would make sense.
So I think that'd be kind of cool. But I like I said, they are very, Loftar seems to be very giving on information in the forum, or in the IRC chat. If you actually catch him and you ask him something that isn't stupid, he seems to be very giving with information.
Yeah.
Because I've asked him plenty of times, like, hey, are there any plans for this, or are there any plans for this or that, and he usually answers. It's a real quick one liner, but he usually gets right to the point.
Yeah. You should just ask him, what are you doing on IRC? The game's not done.
Right. Yeah, and what's funny is everybody talks to him in IRC even when he's not online, and it's like, what do you think he's doing? He's always going to be in the IRC so that no one takes his name. Some troll or some Russian will use the name Loftar.
Yeah.
And try and act like him, so he's got to stay on.
Oh, if you ever talk to him again, tell him I preferred the old Boston cobblestone better.
Really? You like the old Boston cobblestone better?
Yeah.
See, I like the new. I like it better.
Really?
Yeah.
It looks too brown to me.
Well, I think the reason I like it more is because it looks way more like, for instance, not necessarily the cobblestone, but the excuse me, the edges here. How like the edges actually are like rounded.
Oh, right.
They're not so like absolute square. So it kind of makes it look a little better, but I mean, hey, I guess maybe they could leave the roundedness and just change the cobblestone. I don't know.
Yeah, it's just the color mainly, because when I'm looking at it, it looks kind of like meat or something.
Yeah, But
I'm just imagining I'm standing on like a large brain.
And one of the things that Loftar also said was that there are different nodes in the game that haven't been implemented, or they are implemented for like mining, but they don't have the necessary stuff to actually find them. So I'm assuming that there's going to be probably like ore, there's going to be regular ore, there's going to be iron, there's going to be copper, there's going to be gold, silver, because that's like how Haven and Hearth kind of was, if I'm remembering correctly. And in Haven and Hearth, you were actually able to lay brick, lay stone, or lay gold.
Lay gold.
Yeah, so if they implement that, I am having a, well, quote unquote yellow brick road.
That would
And
be
then
pretty cool.
we won't be in Kansas anymore.
I'm just imagining if they allow, like, if you're able to use those materials as like actual building materials, and people start building walls and stuff out of gold.
Oh God, it'll look like Bill Murray's house.
But if you do
It'll
that,
look
like those naked Russians will just rush straight for your house, and like,
Well, yeah, not only that, but then they need to make it so, you know, if you're just gonna go that far, then you need to just make the ability to have gold armor.
but then it'll probably be like Minecraft, and gold armor is like the weakest armor you can have.
Well, I mean, in reality, gold armor would be the weakest armor you could have.
So Minecraft's actually really realistic about that.
Because gold is like, I mean, you could probably puncture through gold pretty easily with a sword if you really wanted to.
Yeah. So, you know, I remember when Minecraft first came out, and I was like, oh, there's gold armor, and they all like equipped gold armor and got gold swords. And everything, it's like worse than wood.
Right, exactly. So yeah, I hope that they have the option to eventually lay like brick and lay, because brick in this game is actually relatively easy to make. And it was a really nice addition in Haven and Hearth, because I guess, like, you know, as when the purity system gets implemented, there's gonna be a period where you just make, you know, crappy bricks and you don't want to do anything with it. So, well, why not have a little brick road? And I don't know if they're talking about doing it in this game, if they're going to or not, but I know one of the things, the things, you know, that were on the conversation of Haven and Hearth and Salem and stuff, is you could actually sprint on stone. As long as you were on stone, you could sprint and it didn't drain.
Oh, that would be a good idea.
So that way, if you were in your claim and it was fully stoned, you could just sprint around everywhere and it wouldn't drain.
Yeah, I mean, it will encourage people to actually build roads.
Right, exactly.
Like, well, actually, looking at this road here, I can't tell what it's made of. It looks like it's asphalt, but obviously it's not.
Yeah, I'm not 100% sure, but I do know one thing, though, is that roads can actually work against you, because if you build a road that goes from your settlement to somewhere, some naked Russian's gonna see it and just be like, oh, well, now I know where this guy lives.
They'll be able to use the road as well. So it's always, you know, pros and cons.
Yep, exactly. So, I don't know. It'll be interesting to see where the game goes, I guess.
Because
hopefully,
if they do actually get to the end game, where they actually have like large cities and like multiple large cities, roads will definitely be useful.
Oh, absolutely. Especially if you get, you know, like, for instance, if two large villages are next to each other or close to each other, you could actually have some sort of trade route.
Yeah, because once they implement like the purity nodes and stuff like that, different areas will have different quality resources.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, so like I'm expecting one side to be, you know, like have very pure iron, whereas another side has very pure food, you know, depending on the land.
Yeah, well, yeah, and that's what they're also going to do. They're going to make it so that, you know, people are going to be warring for clay nodes and warring for lime nodes and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Which actually, I just noticed, and next time Loftar gets online, I'm yelling at him, because if you look at what these guys say, that the wilderness guides, one of them says, "I'll take you to the woodshed, all right," and "all right" is spelled wrong, and it bothers the crap out of me.
It's spelt wrong?
Yeah, well, just watch when it comes up again. It's ALLRIGHT.
I never noticed. It is spelled wrong.
And I gotta yell at him for that.
I always notice that line because it sounds so suggestive. But
yeah, you know what? That's a funny little Salem story. Is the first time I log in Salem, like I kind of had seen the game or whatever, but the first time I logged in, I looked at this dude right here, and then he said, "I'll take you to the wood." Yeah, I said, "I'll take you to the woodshed, all right." And I'm like, "Okay, not using you." Like,
yeah, I always notice that line. I've been imagining like Salem merchandise with that on the T-shirt. You know, "I'll take you to the woodshed, all right." Well, now if the merchandise is made, we're gonna have to misspell all right.
Yeah, so hopefully they change that because it bothers the crap out of me. So yeah, I'm hoping for a few changes, but I'm really wondering why these people have no faces too.
Yeah.
Kind of weird. They're all like grayed out, and this guy somehow, just like the guy in Boston, has some sort of fluorescent beard. I don't know if
Yeah,
he's
the guy who does your hair is like bright green.
Right, yeah, I don't know if they just got some sort of if it's like the Toxic Avenger or what.
They should create some like specifically like faces and hairstyles and beard styles for NPCs.
That would be nice.
Yeah, so people can tell, oh, this is an NPC. I mean, that jacket he's wearing, is this a real jacket? I haven't seen it on any player.
I believe that is. I think it's the farmer's jacket. Is it the farmer's? I think it's the farmer's jacket.
Is it?
Yeah, I'm not sure what the purple is underneath though.
Yeah, but I really don't know why they didn't just actually make these NPCs properly designed, like any character. You still there?
Yeah, sorry, I was talking to somebody.
Yeah, that's alright.
Like I said, I mute my mic because it's easier.
Yeah, it's okay. I can cut that out.
Right, yeah. There's a little moment of silence there. We're having a moment of silence for the fluorescent, for the fluorescently bearded guy. But something else that I'm really anxious for. I guess they're having player stalls.
Player stalls.
Yeah, I don't know if you've heard anything about this. I don't know if anybody else has, but they were talking about an IRC where you can actually, if you have a village and you have, a bunch of stuff or whatever, you can actually build your own stall in Boston and have your village, like your village icon on it or whatever, or somehow, and you can actually right click on the stall and buy from that village, and the only thing is difference is that Boston will just take a cut of it.
Right.
And you could set your own prices and undercut undercut competition, and
that would make trading a lot easier.
It would too. It really would, because I mean they'll be able to buy things, and they'll be able, like, you could, I guess the idea basically is to set up a stall and you could actually put what you're buying and how much you're buying it for, and you'll basically put silver in it, put 1,000 silver or whatever in it, and as people buy from you, it adds to your silver, and as people sell to you, it takes from your silver.
Right.
So that's kind of I don't know, I may be wrong, don't quote me on it, but that's kind of how I took it in IRC chat.
Right. It'll probably work something like that. But yeah, that's kind of a feature that's essential if they want an economy to work in Salem.
Right. The trade containers are not working very efficiently.
Yeah, I mean, they're not even named nicely. It actually says trade cont.
Right. Well, have you looked at what the regular crates say? They're just W box.
I mean, I don't know why they didn't just name those things from the start. I mean, they had to type in W box. Why didn't they just type box?
Or crate.
Or crate.
So yeah, I don't know. But, I mean, I do know, though, that the developers in Haven and Hearth are they're very, like, they really have a set plan. I know they do, because like, for instance, they don't do anything with the default clients, and just like in Haven and Hearth, the default client sucks, nobody uses it, and just like in this game, everybody can't stand the default client, and it's like they don't mess with the default client, I guess, because they just have people that do custom clients. So why have a default, or why have a good default client when you just got people that do it for you?
Yeah. But then I wonder why they don't. Well, I guess they can't endorse Ender in case someone else actually comes along and does a better one.
Right.
So they can't officially endorse a specific client in case, so they encourage competition for other people to make their own clients.
Right, and being that the game is modifiable, that can create a problem, which is why I think in my personal opinion, which is why they quote unquote, we don't endorse them, but we don't ban them.
Yeah.
Because they don't really do anything in the client. The clients don't give you any advantage. It just makes it easier and better to look at.
Yeah, pretty much.
I mean, yeah, you're right that, you know, in the Ender client you get the hot bars. You know, you get that kind of stuff, which I guess in a certain sort of way, you know, you only get a limited amount of space for your hotbar in the default client. So I guess in a certain sort of way that would really kind of break PvP, but I really don't care, you know, like it's just like what everybody said. There was a forum on in the forums that was talking about somebody that didn't like the default client or whatever, and was looking for food and he couldn't find food, and everybody
Oh
was
yeah,
like, well,
oh that guy.
just use the
Just
use the Ender's client.
Yeah, I was getting a little annoyed at him because food is like you don't even need the Ender client to find food.
Right, it's just there.
Like my first, like, I suppose 5 videos-ish, I wasn't using the Ender client. And I had no problem, really. I mean, the only problem I really had was clicking on the berries because they were so small. So I had to zoom in all the way just to click it. I mean, even if I could see it from far away, I just had problems clicking it.
So yeah, I don't know what the problem is finding food, but you don't really need that. But I mean, I guess I do like the Ender client because you can actually click dots on the map and walk to those dots.
Yeah.
You know, even if it's a player, you know, like if you walk away, I can actually click on your dot and follow you, which is what I like because it's kind of a cheap auto run.
Yeah.
I've actually had it before where I was heading in one direction and I was just on my map just clicking random things that were in that direction, whether it was a cricket or a smooth stone or just random stuff, but as long as it was in the direction I was going, I was just clicking on that.
Yeah. I mean, also, if for example, if I click on you and then you keep walking, I will also keep walking, won't I?
Yeah, if you right click and you can actually follow people too, which is kind of cool.
Right, I've actually never tried that. If I follow, then it will actually follow.
Yeah, so if we're headed on an adventure or something, you're like, hold on, I got to AFK for a bit, just put me on follow and you'll walk right with me.
Could you get me stuck on something?
I don't know, let's find out. I think I can.
Like, if I get stuck and then you continue. So
screw you over that way.
That does actually break it, yeah.
So I guess essentially, yeah, you could get people stuck on stuff.
Also, you can assign as leader. Am I the leader right now?
Yeah. Yeah, you're the leader. Whatever. Basically, if you look on your map, whoever is red is the leader. So like I have a blue X mark, you should have a red X mark. And that means you're leader.
Right, okay.
So that actually works just like that. So hopefully, you know, and that's the other thing about, I don't know if you did, but maybe if you want, I could send you it. But they're actually, if you modify the radar file in your Haven and Heart. See, we're talking about it now. I'm on that name, but if you actually go into your Salem folder, you can actually replace your radar file, and like you can see player dots.
So, yeah, I did that.
Yeah, so that makes it really nice. Although it's really annoying in Boston, because I come in Boston, I'm like, oh man, Boston's packed. Oh, never mind, that's just NPCs.
Yeah, and it can't differentiate NPCs from players.
Right, exactly. So, wonder if you can attack NPCs.
Probably not. Like, no. Combat is disabled in Boston.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure. I don't know. It's not quite disabled, but I just miss him every time.
Yeah, you can't make contact.
Yep. No. Can't make contact. Yeah, I think it'll just miss every time. I know you can do the stupid things, like you can jump around.
Yeah.
I wonder what the range is on jump. I'm gonna try and click all the way in the water over there. Find out what the range is. Oh, that's it. It's as far as you get.
Yeah.
As well as Bull Rush. I really wonder what the maximum range of it is. Or Bull Run, whatever.
It's...
Oh wow, that actually is quite a ways.
Yeah. I remember when someone was actually chasing me in the wilderness, he kept using Bull Run to catch up to me.
Yeah, that's exactly what it's for. The only downside, like I said, is that it stuns you for a short time.
Yeah, so if you manage to dodge it, then, well, you can escape him.
Right, and then like with the leap at too, if you hit him with a leap, and I think it does also like if you hit him from the side, it counts too. You just can't hit him from the front.
Yeah. I'm imagining a good combat tactic to be like when someone tries to bull run you, you jump out of the way, and as soon as he reaches his destination, you then bull run into him while he's stunned.
Right, yeah.
That should work.
Yep, that would be decent. Or if he bull runs and he's facing behind you, just leap at him a couple times.
Yeah.
So I'm pretty sure you can leap pretty quickly. There isn't I don't believe there's really a, I think you can actually.
Yeah,
you can just. Yeah, you can just kind of, I guess, spam it really.
Yeah, so if you step out of the way of the bull run, then you could just leap onto his back.
Right.
So okay, there's plenty of, good PvP techniques which people can practice. I will probably never master it.
I still haven't mastered it. So.
I'm always terrible with skill-based games and stuff like that. I always play games for fun, and I'm never actually good at them all the time. I'm good at strategy games.
See, yeah. I'm okay at strategy games, but I'm not. I'm actually not even good, but I find I'm better at like MOBAs, League of Legends, and I like those a little bit more.
Oh, right.
Like I'm not a big fan of MMOs anymore. I used to be, and Guild Wars 2 is about the only one that's really got my hopes up lately.
Yeah. Because
World of Warcraft, is a wonderful game. It's got great lore to it, but the game died.
Mist of Pandaria.
Right, and honestly, like if you follow the lore in the game, the pandas have been in since the beginning, but they just were never in the game.
Yeah,
but if you follow the Warcraft lore, but the game has just gotten so easy.
Yeah, and also because they waited so long to put in the pandas, they seem now so out of place.
Exactly. That's
like
exactly.
I remember the expansion before, and I don't really play World of Warcraft, but the expansion before Mist of Pandaria introduced the Worgen and the small things. I forgot what they're called.
Goblins.
Goblins, yes. And that kind of fit into the atmosphere of the game. Yeah, the Worgens kind of, when I saw the Worgen city and stuff, I said, okay, this looks okay. And it was actually a pretty cool expansion, even though I didn't play the game. But Mist of Pandaria just looks a bit silly.
Right, yeah.
Like, even if pandas are in the lore, they're so cartoonish. And I know World of Warcraft is, the aesthetic is pretty cartoonish, but they're like even more cartoonish.
Yeah, that they are. They're very out of place, for the time period. It's like what is happening is, Guild Wars 2 is coming out, so they have to release, some sort of content expansion to counter that.
Yeah.
And, like I said, World of Warcraft, it will always have a place in my most played games or my addictions, but after a while, I don't find the motivation to play it.
Yeah. And I'm wondering what Blizzard is planning to do to make money, because Diablo 3 was pretty much supposed to take over the money making from World of Warcraft.
Right.
But that's not going so well.
Yeah, exactly. And so I think that World of Warcraft is on a slow downward spiral now. It's only gonna be a matter of time, because like what it really seems like what Guild Wars 2 did was they took all the bad things out of that World of Warcraft was. They took all the bad things out of Rift. They took all these, they combined a bunch of games to make Guild Wars 2.
Yeah.
So.
Well, alternative MMOs are so, like Salem. A lot of MMO people will be coming over to Salem once open beta starts. Most of them will probably leave within the first week, or if not the first few days. They'll just get so fed up with it. But quite a lot will stay, actually. Even in closed beta, I think the server tracker says it peaks at about 60 people.
That's about right.
There's only like 200 people in the closed... Well, not 200, but not many people in the closed beta, right?
Yeah, no, there isn't. Like I could look right now, tell you how many people are online. There are 70 users. Yeah, so
Oh, it's
there's
70 now.
70 right now at this time, right? So even though
So,
it
yeah.
doesn't look like it, figured you'd see more people in Boston, but
Yeah, usually when it's that high, there's more people in Boston. Because this is peak time, and there's like... there's 4 people here, and we're not actually playing the game.
right, we're just kind of wandering around, making fun of the people with no faces, and we're also making fun of the devs' failure to spell the word all right.
Well, okay, maybe English is not their first language.
No, that's fine. I know.
I'm pretty sure Swedish people do learn English in school.
Right, but hey, you know, I as long as it gets fixed.
Yeah. Also, I'm not hating on Sweden. I think Sweden's like the best country on the planet.
I don't know. I never did enough research, but from what you said, I would agree.
Yeah, I mean, you know, they probably have their share of problems, but I think they have fewer problems than some other places.
They have a pirate party. Can you really argue with that? That's awesome.
Yeah, that they allow it to exist. Yeah, it is.
Right.
And that they actually, you know, allow the Pirate Bay to continue to operate and all of that. Yeah, not that we're endorsing piracy for the sake of piracy, but
right. Yeah. Absolutely. I actually was more so leaning just towards pirates in general.
Yeah, and was that piracy is only bad now because the business models haven't caught up.
Yeah.
It's like, you know, piracy was such a bad thing because you didn't pay for the game, but now so many games you don't pay for it anyway.
Right. Yeah. Free to play is becoming huge.
Yeah.
In that aspect, and some games are there are definitely a lot of things that are going against it, that work against it. Like I know a lot of Microsoft games, they actually require online, you know, either they're online all the time, or they are, you know, they require activation online before you can actually play it.
Yeah, and which I think is just a bad idea. I mean, like, Guild Wars 2 is coming out. They don't have any severe DRM. They don't have a monthly subscription or anything like that. I think, but the microtransaction, I think they're gonna make a ton of money.
Right. Yeah. Yep. I think now is Guild Wars 2, is that going free to play, or is that you got to buy it? You got to buy it, right?
You gotta buy it.
Okay. Well, yeah, because Guild Wars 2 is free. Yeah, I was getting my business models different. I was getting them mixed up.
Yeah. Well, there's no subscription on that, but I think Salem would make plenty of cash as well, despite, you know, being free to play. I mean, Dota 2 is going to be free to play as well. Yeah, I think they pretty much confirmed it. I hope I'm not wrong, but I'm pretty sure Dota 2 will be free to play, and you can just like
cool.
download it off of Steam, kind of thing.
Yeah, because I'm in the beta for it right now. Never played it, but
I tried it. I'm terrible.
Yeah, see, it's all about how much you know, because I'm terrible at, like, I did play like the little training thing and was just completely confused, which is why I don't know, I know League of Legends better than Dota 2. I mean, when it starts getting bigger, I might check it out and start learning it, but I don't feel like learning all the items and stuff all over again.
Yeah. Like, I just played Dota when, you know, years ago, so I kind of know how things are supposed to work.
Right, yeah, exactly.
Like, I tried Heroes of New Earth because I played Savage, and I got, like, you know, the beta access to Heroes of New Earth. So I kind of tried that, but it's really hard to pick up a different MOBA once you're used to one.
Yeah, that's exactly it. It's not hard to pick up because you know the basic concepts of it, but the learning curve is so high on MOBAs in general, like League of Legends and all those, that you have to learn the game all over again.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's the downside. Is the learning curve is the big one.
Yeah.
Although I'm finding that more and more people are wanting to learn or wanting to try MOBAs. It's a huge, that's like another genre in and of itself now.
Yeah, it has. I mean, the word MOBA, I mean, some people disagree with the word MOBA to define the genre, but I can't think of another word.
I think it is. I think it's a defined genre. I mean, I mean, really, when you look at what defines a genre, you know, you guys, I mean, if you look at all the different genres, you know, go to a video game site and look at all the different genres, it fits in none of them
Yeah.
because it's you know, it's not a consistent, it's it isn't a consistent, I guess, you know, like setup. It, you know, every game's different. Every game, you know, every game you're gonna be countering something different or countering something, another player that's different or something like that. So it's not like any other game. I guess strategy would be the best place to put it in if you were going to try and put it in anything.
Yeah, but then we get even more confusing because I do sense there's like a new wave of games recently, like over the past year-ish. A lot of indie games have been coming out, and a lot of experimentation has been happening. Like even with MOBA, you're getting like first-person MOBAs now, or third-person MOBAs, or RTS MOBAs.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, that's definitely true.
Yeah, like even like Total Biscuit just did a video with his wife, and it was like a tower defense MOBA.
What?
Where like two people are. I mean, it's not exactly a tower defense MOBA. It's a tower defense game, but then you spawn creeps to send to the other opponent, and you can like spawn heroes and stuff like that.
Huh, that's interesting.
So there does seem to be quite a bit of experimentation going on. And of course, all the Paradox games.
Yeah, which War of the Roses.
Swedish people are creative.
Right. I'm definitely hoping I get into that beta for War of the Roses because I want to check that out.
Yeah.
That
if you get an extra key, send me one.
Will do. Because it definitely looks like it's a very skill-based medieval battle game.
Yeah.
So that looks kind of cool.
It's odd because the games that are coming out now are games that I imagined when I was a kid. You know, like Salem is something I kind of imagined when I was a kid, and War of the Roses, where it was like a first-person, third-person kind of deathmatch thing, but set in medieval times or whatever. It's stuff that I imagined when I was a kid, but no one made those games.
See, what I always picture is like Salem is. I tell people, like especially if they're my age, if they were fans. I don't know if you ever played it, but it's like Harvest Moon on steroids.
Oh yeah, I played Harvest Moon.
that's what I say because it feels a lot like it, but it's just a lot more. There's a lot more to it.
Yeah.
And then you get, like you said, like there are a lot of games that are coming out, but I'm really disappointed in the way most companies go about doing it anymore. Is because back in the day when it was Nintendo 64 and Dreamcast and PlayStation, video game companies had one chance. They had one shot. If they missed something, or if there was a bug in the game or something like that, that was it. It was just a bug. But nowadays it seems like games are just pushed to get out on the shelves as fast as possible, and we'll fix the issues later.
Yeah.
I mean, no offense to Blizzard. No offense to Blizzard, but Diablo 3 is a perfect prime example.
Yeah.
They pushed the game, and then they consistently had to shut down the servers over and over again because they had to do hot fixes, and the real money auction house didn't get implemented until 3 months after the game was out. The difficulty was way off. They didn't have their difficulties right. They had to adjust. Like, it was just all those problems shouldn't even have been there.
Yeah, and one thing that really concerned me was like before the game launched, the Yogscast was talking to one of the developers, and they asked, has anyone beaten the game on, what's the hardest difficulty? Inferno, is it?
I think it's Inferno, yeah.
Or Hell, or something like that. The hardest difficulty in Diablo 3. And they actually asked the developers, has anyone finished it? And they said no one had finished the game on the hardest difficulty. And that just from a developer perspective, when you've put something in the game and no one in the development team has like completely fully tested that part of the game,
right?
Like, no one's finished the game on the hardest difficulty. How can you release the game and know that it's even possible to finish it on that difficulty?
I think if they would have hired 3 naked Russians, they probably could have done it. But
yeah, but I mean, it just seems so weird that a big title like that would have something that's just completely untested.
Yeah, that's definitely true. A lot of game companies are doing that. Like, I remember back, obviously we're going back again, but like back to like the Nintendo 64 and stuff. Like, a game would be announced, but it wouldn't come out for like 3 years because they were just spending tons of time polishing it and making sure it didn't have, you know, as few bugs as possible, and you know, and like that. And when it came out, that was it. As soon as it got published, you know, that was it. They didn't have a chance to, oh, we got to recall all of them now so we can make new ones so we can fix this bug.
Well, my hard drive is now full. That's it for a podcast? Is this a podcast? Yeah, we didn't plan to do it. We just decided to chat with Salem on. That's the end of the first GamerZakh and Eegorevids podcast. Alright, I'll see you in the next video.